Hey Oki fans, it's your boy Kiefster. So, after a bit of consideration, I've decided that I will, and finally kind of made I wouldn't call this a prediction of Persona 6, but what I would want to see in a Persona 6. I guess if I had to do any sort of prediction, it will be basically what I want the color to be. So I want to start off by saying, sort of just weeding into my experience with Persona series. So to start off, if you couldn't obviously tell with my VTuber model avatar currently, I mean, the biggest inspiration's right in front of you, especially from like the mask, aka Joker from Persona 5. That's pretty freaking obvious. That being said, I started off my journey of Persona from playing, obviously, the original Persona 5 in 2017, which came out right around late 2017 to 2018 is when I really got into the Persona series. And when I beat the original Persona 5 a couple of times, I then decided to play Persona 3 FES, then Persona 4, the original, not Golden. I didn't touch Golden until like I borrowed my friend's PS Vita and I played the other like Persona games that I was missing a little bit of. And now I finally have Golden and I can finally stream it, which I'll personally just do later. So not to really get into it too deep because I want to talk about what I want in Persona 6. Really got into Persona roleplay as Joker for quite a while. In fact, I still roleplay as Joker today, even. It's one of the mooses that I still keep. And I also intend to cosplay as Joker. If I can probably manage to do so, I'll try to cosplay him around Halloween this year. We'll have to see. Might even show that off in the Halloween special cosplay and everything. Comment down below if you want to see me cosplay as Joker from Persona 5, finally. Okay, so enough about that. We're going to get into what I want in a Persona 6 game. So, to start off, none of these are in particular, but some of them are just inspirations from other videos that I've seen and also like stuff. So, the first thing is, number one, I want Persona to basically, okay, so this is enlarged with Shin Megami Tensei by and large, and now Persona. I want them to take off from Japan. Like, okay, what I mean by that is, okay, maybe the setting can start in Japan, maybe the MC can be Japanese, but I feel like if the game is trying to aim for more representation, they can basically base this off of anywhere. I would say maybe, I don't know, I think the most obvious like nation may be in the United States. Like we could probably, like, granted Persona 5, you had the Hawaii trip in the game. But I mean, what I mean towards like, kind of make that sort of a thing. Like globalization might play a part in Persona 6, you never know. That could be like an interesting concept to bring to probably a mainline Persona game. Like the different settings. Like, I like what Persona 5 Strikers did. They not only based it on Tokyo, Japan, like they did it in all sorts of parts of different parts or different districts of in Japan. So how about we get a Persona game that maybe explores traveling to different nations. Maybe they'll give them a chance to base some demons from other SMT sort of to kind of justify them being there, sort of what Pokemon does based on their games. I don't know. I'm probably going ahead of myself with that, but that is like one thing. The second thing is I want. Okay, this may or may not be controversial to some, but I think it's about damn time. Okay, rather than hear me out. Rather than getting a true female protagonist, make the silent protagonist for Persona 6 any gender. So, what I mean by this, give the player the option to choose the gender they want. And I think if they want to make it a little bit more customizable, perhaps even give the player the option to maybe customize the character. Like, I guess you can sort of do that with 5 with the different costumes. But I think what I mean, like, maybe even going as far as, like, making color palettes or something. Maybe that's going a bit too far because at the end of the day, you're supposed to interpersonal relate to the protagonist. If you guys know what I mean. So give the player, just like in Persona 3 Portable, the option to pick either a male protagonist or a female protagonist. I think that will make both player bases happy, especially if the Persona series really does cater to like both genders. So I think that would be absolutely wonderful. And another caveat is a bit of a hot take, but I think this will service. This would also service the LGBT player base too. Make the character bisexual. So it's like, what I mean by that is, just like in Fire Emblem Three Houses, if you want the MC to basically date like the same sex, like give the player the option to do that. Would open all sorts of possibilities in terms of like social links and stuff, Also kind of have another way to like bond with the characters, And I don't just mean like yaoi shipping for the sake of it, just because Fujoshi. I mean for the sake of like, to really give players more of a reason to play, more choice, That would be another thing. So goes to my next point. Okay, so I think this one is probably a given, but I want to perhaps see more demons from SMT to be incorporated in Persona, because obviously Persona is a spin-off of SMT. Maybe I want to see some things from 5, like Amanazaku. I want to fuse her. She was definitely one of my favorite demons in SMT 5. I definitely want to see, and hopefully Mara's not tied to, DLC. That would be pretty sucky because it is apparently tied to DLC in Soul Hackers. But I definitely want to introduce more demons, like to the point where, okay, I think this may go into my next point, but yeah, on top of introducing more demons, Atlas should really consider maybe, okay, you can definitely put some personas as DLC, fine, but just like what Gnarly said in one of his videos, they should really cut it out with the day 1 patches. Like, try to get everything done within the scene as much as possible, and then DLC should be like, I think the DLC should be more enticing. That's like another point. Extra personas is cool. Maybe extra. I think they should add more DLC that relates to the lore. So it's like, if you want to know about said character, here's this. Okay. So then buying DLC for that would be pretty cool. Okay, so my next point is going to be like this. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's point number 5. There should be. Okay, so we all know congenitally the Persona games kind of reference each other. So, for example, in Persona 5, you see Rise in posters. In Persona 3, you see references from 1 and 2. Who's to say that we can't have reoccurring characters? And if Persona 6 goes in a certain way, and we learn about, like, say, because the original actor for Igor died, the Japanese Seiyu, why don't they make it so that we reintroduce Philemon from Personas 1 and 2? And why not sort of bring some of the old cast, like, obviously not to put them as a party member necessarily, maybe they would do it temporarily or something, but like, it would also just further like a reason to buy the game. It was like, oh, if you play Persona 6, it could be directly related to Persona 5 in this way, but not make it the focal point, obviously. So now we're going to get to like the last point of what I want the color to be. So, what do you think of color in terms of Persona series? I think of sort of like what the themes it's trying to convey. So, with going in chronological order, Persona 3 represents death and the seriousness of like your mortality. So that's why blue is the perfect color for Persona 3. Persona 4, everything is like very optimistic, very easygoing, but then there's some sort of like mystery. Like yellow definitely fits Persona 4. 5, we never see the dynamic themes and stuff, and so the rebellious nature of 5 and how your inner self struggles, like, you know, basically manifests, and then that's how you summon your personas. Like, each of these things sort of play, you know, coexist with each other. So I think Persona 6 would benefit in being the color green. So it's like you have the tranquilness, calmness of Persona 4, but then you also have the eeriness of Persona 3. So maybe take this a step further and sort of just mesh the two together. Maybe cover like current events, like, oh, maybe some sort of sickness is going on, like a certain pandemic that's going to maybe touch on social issues that are like that. Like, not to detract the game, but sort of just add in some sort of nuance that sort of just meta, that sort of just relates to real world in a very cool, non-controversial way, if I'm making any sense. And I think those are the main points that will make Persona 6 probably pretty cool. These are just sort of what I want from it. So I hope all these points sort of make sense. Again, I just want to disclaim, like, obviously I have no basis on what I say here. This is just what I personally would want in Persona 6, based on what I've known about the other games, you know, being a fan of them. I think all these would just service the game pretty well. Anyway, this is your boy Kiefster, and I'll see you guys next time. Kiefster, out.